Cool. So, do we have anything specific that someone wants to talk about this week, or we will do some short sync between ourselves about new things that were added, etc. Is
Um,
there anyone that wants to talk about something? Maybe
I can,
Tzarfati.
yeah. So currently we're looking at something that we have a bug basically in one of our apps that is from the SDK related to loading the interstitial in the beginning of the app. Basically today the configuration for the add unit of the interstitial that is displayed right after the intro is taken from the CMS. And the current assumption is that if there is the extension, the add ID exists in the CMS, we have an add to show. So currently the code is checking if the add ID exists in the extension, and then decides to show the activity, assuming that when the add is loaded, the add will show. But in our case, we have a customer that maintains the add IDs on the CMS, but they don't necessarily have something to show, meaning that the load of this add ID might fail. And the result is that when the app starts, we have the intro activity, and then the activity of the interstitial is displayed and immediately closed. And this is a bad user experience. So we were wondering if it's possible to try and load the add unit before deciding whether or not the interstitial activity should open, which is the correct way to go about it. And the question is here, has anybody else encountered this issue, or do we know of any other customer who complained about interstitial activities that open without displaying anything?
I think that it's a long time issue. But some customers don't complain, you know, they just since it's short, it's just like but I know what you talk about, yeah. It's very long time happening like that, but no, not a
we first developed, which was basically 2.5 or even more years ago. 3 years ago.
It was you developed it.
Yes.
yeah, it's a bad user.
Yes, initially the assumption was if the add unit exists, there's going to be a field, there's going to be an add.
Also on iOS.
But yeah, but this is obviously not the case. So we might need to add additional logic that says, okay, first load, see if you have an item, and then if you already loaded, inject what you loaded into the activity that will open. That's the idea that we're trying to think.
We did it on iOS.
Which is better implementation in any way because you are coupling the responsibility from the activity. So
That's true. Yes. So yeah, kind of like a interstitial handler that will check if there's a field, and if so, will launch the activity and display what's already loaded. Yes, and this is an example of something that has been developed quite some time ago, but needs refinement. And I understand, Pablo, why you're saying that nobody complained, because, well, I don't understand why they didn't complain, but I know that you know it, and it's kind of weird that nobody else complained it so far. This is something that we'll probably tackle in the near future.
Because nobody complained about it, because if they have an add ID, so I guess they want to see.
yes, they normally want to have the campaign on. So
If they don't.
But they don't. Okay, if we can say that this is the feature and leave it by that, and not do actually not change, and say, okay, if you want an add ID, add it on the CMS. But we have an example. If there are other add ID doesn't mean that the campaign is alive. It means
but it's very in the current implementation that we have. This is the assumption. It's like
No. The problem is that add units, let's say on the dashboard side of Google, you are able to define, okay, for a specific user, show the interstitial twice a day. Okay, now it means that if the user loads the apps twice, he will see interstitial and everything will be good. Okay, but the third time he will load the app, it will show empty view that will be closed because there is no interstitial.
And the campaign is still active.
So
This, by the way, is capping. This is called capping. This is a control that advertisers want to have on the amount of times that user is exposed to an ad, because
also use it. You don't want to scare users.
Not scaring, just
I mean,
it's ineffective.
Israel broadcasters are scary.
It's ineffective to show ads too many times to the same user. So the campaign might be alive, but not necessarily show anything to that specific user, and this is basically one of the cases where it can happen. So this is one thing that in the near future will probably change some of the handling on
Do you want to talk about the e-planning?
Yes, and as we started investigating what needs to be changed to achieve that, we encountered something that actually I wanted to ask if anybody else knows what this is about. There is something that is called e-planning interstitial activity.
It was deprecated and removed from the SDK on iOS.
iOS. Okay.
So
It should be removed also for Android.
there is no use for it by any client anywhere in the world?
First of all, there is no use. Second of all, it was long time ago even tested, and the player had a major refactor, and only the Google IMA was tested. So basically, e-planning is complete garbage.
E-planning is what? Is an advertising provider?
It's both for banners and interstitial and for IMA. Okay? And it's a piece of garbage. Also,
who used it? Do you remember who used it?
Mediacorp, I think.
Mediacorp is in Singapore?
Mediacorp is not a customer anymore, so.
No, it is not used. It is not used, period. On iOS, it was removed.
So this is something that before we actually move on to implement.
Plus, if you drill down inside the code, it is a complete copy of the previous Google IMA.
Exactly, that's what we know.
Google banners. So it's a complete garbage.
So thank you for the info. This was very useful. So now we'll know that the first task before adding the interstitial handler will probably remove this code. And I also invite you to use this forum to ask things that you're not clear about why they are so in the code. This is a great example of things that we found in the code that should not exist anymore and should be removed and would actually make our implementation a lot more complicated, or not a lot, but more complicated than what it should be. And so if you encounter code that you feel that is not relevant anymore, but you don't want to remove it because you're scared that you might ruin for some other theme, this is exactly the forum to talk about it. So I encourage you all to do it in the future because it really helps understand and do things carefully. So that's it on my side, I guess.
Cool. Anyone wants to? I have a question. I saw lately a lot of changes in all the analytic providers. So maybe, I don't know if it was Elad or someone else that was doing it. So I wonder if someone can elaborate on it.
Elad, I don't know if he's on the call.
Elad is here. I see.
Okay. Yes, I did it. I thought to spoke with it while I'm thinking, but I can think now. Basically, I had I tried to achieve some to create some feature called blacklist. So blacklist is like filtering out event that we don't want to, and I like to do it across all our provider. So basically, instead to put the code for each provider, I like to set the code in the Bayes Analytic Agent. So basically, I could do it, but I had the problem that a lot of provider didn't call the super. So, for example, if they set the params in the provider, they don't say the super, hey, I have this and that params. So therefore, I couldn't pass the data all the time. So I understood that if we like to create
cross providers or cross plugins solutions, I think it's highly important first to call to the super, and in the infrastructure, what I added annotation called super. So basically, you don't must to implement any of the functions, but if you implement one of the function, I think it's you must to call to the super. So if we like to create like cross plugin solution like blacklist, for example, blacklist event, so we could do it.
Can you show it? Can you share with us with the change?
Sure.
I make you presenter. 1 second.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, if you can show it to us. Because I didn't understand what you were saying, apart of the fact that you need to call the super. So
no problem. You're able to see my screen now, right?
yes.
Right. Put it that way. Here. Let's see. Okay. So everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Great. So basically what I did is add call to supers across all the functions. And here, when I'm calling the super, when I'm receiving the configuration where in the set params, so I keep the blacklist event keys. So I have like the blacklist events. So this set of blacklist event, I have it. So later on, I can filter it out. So basically what is very important, what you asked specifically, is the call super. So I had call super, and you can see over here that what I did, like in a lot of cases, for example, here, is verify that, you see, that they call to the super in every function that they use.
Question about this annotation. I'm not familiar with it. Is it a lint annotation? Like what is the need of it? If I will not, let's say that I will not call the super, what
Yeah, of course, absolutely, you know this annotation. I tell you where you use it. In the activity, when you implement activity, you have like on create, you must to implement on create function. It's this same annotation called super. They use call super annotation. Basically, what call super annotation say that you don't, if you implement this function, if you override this function, you must call to the super.
No, this I understand, but what happens? Will it fail to compile? What will it give me a warning? What will happen? Will it crash on runtime?
It will fail to compile, absolutely.
Okay.
Elad,
So it's a lint exception.
I talked with you about this pattern already when you implemented, I think, custom dimension, okay? Basically what you do, you put manager code inside basic provider, okay? This code should be managed by the manager. It should have a setter. It should call this. It should call the set of those providers, of each provider, iterate over them and call the set. okay? And there can be a basic implementation, but you cannot force, okay, someone to call super for some kind of a weird lazy loading or something. It is just a pattern that is, it's not valid pattern, I'm sorry, in any in object-oriented language.
Wow, why you think, איך אתה מגיע למסקנה הזאת? How you get this conclusion?
Okay.
Look, this I like to do grooming with you. This pattern I didn't invent. You can see it in Activity, for example, in Android. They use call super. They use abstract class. Abstract class is not my idea. What you talking about, Reuven? If you have like big architecture discussion, let's open it, schedule a meeting, and I can speak with you. Right now, it's not the time. If you like to think, this is what I did, and I think it's the best solution for all our plugins.
Elad, I didn't understand what happened. If you can explain again, because
Nothing. Basically, what I add is a notation.
It, but the blacklist. Why we need a blacklist? Because we don't want to send analytic event to the analytic provider. This is the reason.
Blacklist is basically it's more complicated. Blacklist is from the SDK perspective. In the server, it's whitelist and blacklist. The point is that we like to manage from the server the events. So a lot of time people like want to filter out event. For example, in Mixpanel, they pay for each event. So sometimes there is a customer that don't want all the event. They want some specific event. Therefore, we supply whitelist. Or sometimes they want to like blacklist, avoid from specific event in a specific provider. So basically, I wanted to create some feature across all our provider that I can give this feature. So
how you enforce it? Like I call super, okay, and then I'm still sending the event. So even after I call the super and it's in the blacklist, I can still send the event to the provider. So how you enforce it? I'm trying to understand.
What happens if I call a log event and then I call super? If I change the order of the call in my subclass?
You can do it.
But it will set the blacklist only after.
After what?
If I change.
Even if I call the super.
The blacklist is in the set params.
Okay, but I'm calling now this. I have an event, video play. Okay.
So where you asked where I'm filtering it out?
Yeah.
Okay, here. What I'm doing, it's the analytic. So over here we have like we have a discussion if it's the good approach or it's not the best approach. I create another pull request. You can see here, I think so. So I filter it out in the here. So basically, I filter out in the base class. But me and Gil think about that, and basically, I'm filtering it out here in the analytic agent util. When I'm receiving the event, I see if it's not in the blacklist. If not, I'm filtering it out.
Okay, and why? So why we should call the super? I didn't understand again.
Filter the events.
But
No.
to set the
I explained your solution in two manners. First of all, why in the blacklist you must call to the super. I will explain you. Here in the super, in the base class, we have the set params.
okay.
So what I'm doing here is taking the blacklist parameter, okay, and keep it here in the base class. So in the future, if you ask is in the blacklist, you have I add a function is in the blacklist. Where is it? I think at the bottom. Yeah, he's not in blacklist. So what I'm doing, I take the event name and verify if I'm contained the blacklist or not. Okay. So this is the reason why I'm keeping the blacklist. This is the reason why you must call to the super. You must call to the super for that I can keep the blacklist internally, okay, in the base class. So this is one manner.
So just the set params should call the super.
Okay, now this is why you must to call set params. But you know what, Elad? I understand another thing over here. When I come to do this feature, I understand why it's so important when you inherited from a base class, why you need to call it super. You must to call it super. So tomorrow, if someone want to create cross-provider solution, he able to do it. He able to do it. So I think you don't must, like, for example, if tomorrow we don't only in Applicaster implement the analytics provider, maybe tomorrow outsourcing or some other people gonna implement analytics provider, and I want to supply them the new feature that I developed. So it's very important to me that tomorrow also other people are gonna call supers. So if I'm fixing right now our plugins, I can handle that. But tomorrow maybe the plugin is gonna be from in outsourcing repository, and I can touch it and I can focus.
I understand.
So what I understand in the mechanism or in the design patterns, it's very important to add call super.
Okay, but I just think that according to what you said, that you want to add some logic, I don't know, in the base class, I think it's very important to understand when you call the super, and not just to call the super, because you can call the super after you made some logic, and you can call the super before you made it. So
yeah, first of all, you're right. First of all, you're right. But you know, I didn't want to create so much tight interface. Like, call the super, it's enough. There is an annotation, call it annotation first or something like that. I didn't look for it because I don't want to, you know, put it so much today, like build so much, do so many limitations. I want to give it the flexibility to do it in the right. But you know, when I develop something, usually at the very beginning, I put calling to the super and giving the params. But you know,
Elad, sorry, it's Atanas.
Yes.
Like, if you don't know what super is doing, like, how do you know if calling super is correct? I mean, there are some cases where you want to override the method, and so you don't want to call super.
Override the method is not saying not call to super. Over here, you also can override the method. Why you not calling to the super? Why you don't want to share with him your params?
Because I might not know what super is doing, or like even if I do know, maybe I want to implement the method in a different way. It's just like if you don't need super, why do you call super? Like, it's just.
Look,
I think that Elad, that you decide to put on all of them the call super, it's a little bit drastic. Maybe for the set parameters you want to force to call it, then that's fine. But I'm not sure, for example, if you will scroll down, I will be able to see. I'm not sure that other methods are a must.
for example, this one.
Yeah, start tracking session. I don't know. Maybe I don't need a super, or I don't know what is analytics switch. But all these methods, I'm not sure that I want to call the super. You know,
Why
I don't
not
know.
call it to super?
For the reason that Atanas says. The reason that
Why?
because I don't want the implementation of the super. I want to completely
me-
override. I want to deal with it like an interface. I want to
Let me
implement my logic inside. So, okay, you want to force the parameters because it's a main logic of your of the provider. This I can understand. This I can understand. You can also do it for, if it's very important, you can also decide that you are doing it in the constructor, for example. Doesn't matter. I don't know exactly what you implemented there. But I think it's a little bit severe to put it all over the place. I agree with Atanas. Sometimes it's not a necessity to call super. Sometimes it is. And if there is a specific a place where you are, when you want to force it, then it's fine. It's a decision of you, architectural decision of you. But I'm not sure that I need to call super for every element here. Start tracking session. I don't know what you're doing inside. Let's say I'm implementing Ran's analytics provider. Okay.
Yes.
I have a tracking session which is very clear. Okay, I'm calling my singleton start tracking. I don't care what you're doing in your super implementation in the in the um, in the parent class. So again,
So if you don't care, call me. That's
I-
it. You know. Look. I understand your point, but you know, I'm feeling that if you don't want to call into the super, you're going to. If you so don't want to call to the super, so there is, or the person that created the super created a problem or creates an issue that you don't want to call him. This is the reason. Or so there is an implementation issue in the super, in the base class, or you like to do some hack. This is one of the two cases. So I think that if you touching this kind of code base class, you have to be responsible and do what you know what you're doing, and don't like do all your code autonomic, and don't harden any other ones. This is what I think. But
I have an example.
So it's about
Do you want to
big
hear it?
splash screens for the big
Do
devices.
you guys want to hear my example where I don't want to call super?
yeah, there are a lot of examples. Like if you want to override the order of things that are done in the super, if it doesn't fit the order.
It's a very like I think it's a clean way why I wouldn't want to call super. So if you want me, I can just in 2 or 3 minutes just explain what this example is.
Yes.
yeah, but if I can hear also some other people that talk.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's yeah, okay. Let somebody else explain that. It's like too many meetings.
Elad, I tell you, for example, why I don't want to call super. Imagine that in your super, okay, you're setting the order of the things that are done, that you're setting a parameter. Oh, my connection is lost. You also lost the connection? What the fuck? Something happened in the internet here. Connect through my phone.
With a geometrical example and a surface, because if you are deriving geometrical shapes, the way you measure the surface, you don't really need to call super, because the domain is different in the geometrical sense. Yeah. Yes. No.
I will tell you that if I'm gonna create this kind of abstract base class for geometric, I will not create like calculation because I understand that you're gonna inherit it from that and create your own calculation or your own formula. It's fine. You know, this is what I start to say. This is what I said in the very beginning. Or that I create something wrong in the base class or not. But you know what, guys? You're gonna use it. Like, we all use it. But I respect your thought, and I will reconsider where I add the call super and I create I will remove it in a few places. No problem. Where I feel it's not important to use it.
Cool. Cheers a lot. Thanks
No
for
problem.
considering, mate.
No problem.
Cool. Thank you.
And if I'm already here, I'm speaking about what I'm thinking. So basically, what I also did this week is like creating like logger or some smart logger of the Morpheus of the analytics utils. So basically what there is a two kind of logging. There is a directly log that like behavior of the analytics in the application, so start session, close session, or stuff like that. So this kind of I add a log, and I also sometimes display pop-up and in the analytics in the Applicaster member mode, so you're able to see while you're going through the application, you're able to see relevant pop-up of event. So it's going to be easier for the QA to QA the event that everybody sent, and also the screen views feature, so everybody can see the screen names. So if you get into Applicaster member mode and you're going inside the application, you start to see more pop-ups. And basically what you see, you start to see, it's the analytics event. כולם שמעו אותי? Everybody hear me?
כן, אנחנו איתך.
That's it. Question, sometimes?
I think I have a better example, guys. Sorry, not the geometric one. But just imagine you have cars and you have a mini car and SUV. And like you derive the, standard car and SUV. A standard size car has the equation for measuring the fuel that it uses, the fuel efficiency. And then you want to calculate the fuel efficiency of the SUV, but then you don't want to call calculate efficiency for the base size car. I think it's a slightly better example. Yeah? No? Cool. Sorry.
Cool. Okay, so let's start doing. Anyone wants to talk a little bit about what you did this week that was important?
I have a small update that I added a flavor to the Gradle Gradle file. So now we have mobile and TV.
Okay.
Just make sure when you build a version app, dev app in the Android Studio, you can choose if you want to build it with the TV or mobile. I think the default will be mobile anyway.
Something that you added now?
Something that I added in the Zap, Android Zap repository. And from Zap, it automatically will build the right flavor by.
The Android TV has some native code?
Most of the code is in the generic.
No, it's something that related to the C++, JNI, something.
No.
Just make sure, just for you to know, to see that you work on the mobile flavor.
No other changes to Gradle, right?
No.
Okay. Good to know.
So we all
Sorry, guys. I know that I'm getting annoying. I was just thinking about like trying to brainstorm this super thing, and like if I'm obliged to call super, won't it be better to make the method private and close it? No, sorry, I'm getting annoying. Sorry, I'm shut up. I'll shut up and not say anything else.
Another discussion, but I'm not sure that now it's the right time. I think we've passed this subject. We can further discuss maybe some other time or later. Okay?
Cool. Meirav, you want to tell us what you did this week?
Meirav out.
No, Meirav is here. No?
No, she went. I can say in her name. Basically, she worked on trying to find a solution for the analytics. It's a sort of story for the for the advertising, not analytics. The advertising, similar but not the same.
What was the problem?
What we described, I think they weren't here before,
okay.
but basically trying to load the ad before opening the activity, so that you don't open the activity and show nothing if there is no fill in the ad. Yeah, so she worked on that. Some bug fixes that are required in one of our projects, but not something that is related to the SDK or the generic. And that's mostly it. And the A/B testing, which is progressing very, very slowly, but there is a product definition that we're working on with
It's
the
from part of the UI builder, like A/B testing.
It is eventually it will be part of the UI builder, but currently we're trying to define how experiments will take place in an app, which is basically the core idea of doing an A/B test of any kind. Yeah, so they're now just trying to create the data structures for hosting these experiments.
Like color, if the button in a red color, and it's
that's the idea.
Like this.
But we're currently in a very basic step of just defining the objects of an experiment and variants and variables and all of the basic stuff of defining A/B test. So that's that. Ready?
Cool.
I don't have something. I just work on a hot login plugin and some fixes and stuff like that. Something special.
Cool.
Another that I did. I added the option to get favorites screen from UI builder. Till now it wasn't supported, and now you can add from the UI builder favorite screen, and it will check in the code if the screen type and will show the favorites.
So favorites coming from the device, right? Just like this.
It's a local. It saved all the items that you saved, like in the cache, in the device. Sorry, in the share preferences.
It used to be by a request to the server, right?
It used to be like a few years ago. It's not anymore.
Okay.
So it's local memory. When you clear the cache, it's clear all the favorites. And
We added local favorites when you were still here in Modular 1.0.
Not that I remember, but okay. Never mind. Okay. Kariti, you wanted to say?
And Tarek didn't talk yet, yeah?
Yeah, I still didn't.
So just maybe Tarek will explain it better. Tarek, I want you to tell me about the theme issue we talked today.
About what? Can you?
Theme.
I can't hear you.
About the theme issue.
Okay. So I'm working on the Bellator app where we are doing an SSO plugin thing, where I need to add the library from the Bellator guys, an outsourced library. When I add that to the dependency of my plugin, they have in their app, they have a theme, which is an app theme. When I try to compile it, it conflicts with the. Can you hear me? Because it's say I'm reconnecting. Okay, never mind. So when I try to compile it, I get a conflict between our generic app theme, which is the generic app theme, and their theme. I tried adding a tools replace in the manifest, but it did not help. So I've been So what Elad did suggested, like helped me to solve this issue, is I moved the theme into the app level and did the replace there, and now it works. But this is how I managed to solve this issue. But yeah.
So the replaces works only on the app level?
Yeah, only on the app level. On the generic level, it does not work.
The plugin is in the same level of the generic, so the generic
can't override it.
Cannot override it.
Yeah.
So I think we need to, like Tarek said, to move the theme to the app level and make the replace there, because libraries should not have an app theme on the manifest. They can maybe add a theme to the activity or something like that, but not to the application. But we cannot control it.
So why you don't do that? It's true what you're saying. Why not doing it?
There are many.
Why don't do what?
There are many shared customization in the app theme. The app theme was basically created by Gil when we moved to
Marshmallow.
No, to Marshmallow and to no. When we moved to the
design,
material design, yes, sorry. The app theme defines basically many of the customization from Zap, status bar color, buttons color, radio buttons color, whatever. And basically, if you override this, you override all the option to customize it. So this is why it was put in the generic.
But it can be in the app in the same way.
Yeah.
Okay, but you do understand the third party that needs to add things to app theme is will. I mean, we are not third party. The generic is
no plugins. Let's talk about plugin. You wanted the plugin will have the same thing as the app. Anyway, in any case,
they can override it in the activity level if they want. You can change it in the activity level.
Yeah, you can change the theme in the activity. Yeah. And then only in your activity you will have this thing.
If we want to enforce it, we need to do it in the app level, because the generic and the plugins are in the same level under the application. So you cannot override the plugin.
But you shouldn't in the plugin set the app theme.
Okay, but third party can do
library. Okay, third party library.
It's not us.
But you can do replace and change it to nil in the plugin level. If you're using a third party that does it, you can just change it.
Okay,
to
so
nil
why to do it? We
just
tomorrow we want some customer to make everything, all the plugin. We don't want to wrap it. We don't want to do nothing. Just to give him the option to make it, to make this plugin. And he can do. I don't know what he can do there. So I know he can change.
No, he can probably overwrite it in the plugin itself. Like if the plugin is.
If we are wrapping, if we are making, we wrap this
third-party library.
So we can do it there, but it's better to do it in the application level. Why it's on the generic? This is what I'm saying. Because this is the thing for the app, not just for the generic.
Because there is no.
You can go. You have an access to the app theme. Even if it's in the generic, it's under the application level.
No, I agree. It should be in the app. It's the thing for the app.
Yeah, it was good when we didn't have any plugins and stuff like that. It's like, well, okay.
לא, can you hear us?
Yeah, yes, we can. I can.
Yes, we hear you. So
So
my question is why you are not moving it to the app level?
we will. We just
Just
updating
talking
you.
about it, yeah.
Ah, okay. Okay, I didn't understand. Okay, cool. It's similar to what we had with the Android icon, if you remember, that the library was forcing us to do something that is irrelevant.
הדבר היחיד שאין זה שהפוקוס.
נכון, אנחנו לא צריכים את זה בטמפלט, אנחנו צריכים את זה ברמת האפליקציה.
זה רמת האפליקציה, הסקריפט הולך ומעתיק את זה לרמת האפליקציה. אתה רוצה ללכת לרמת האפליקציה?
לא, אני לא רוצה לשים את זה בכל טמפלט. I want to make it like, to put it in the rake or something like that, where I don't know.
No, but you want it to be the same. Just replace and use the applicasters. This is what you want, no?
I want that in the manifest of the
customize
app level manifest will have the theme. That's what I want.
But the same theme for all the apps.
Yeah.
No, this is what happens, I think.
No,
it's not
the
in the manifest.
generic level.
Okay, but it's only moving the declaration to the app theme here. That's it.
Yeah, okay.
And force.
So
because the style is already.
We need to do it in the rake or something like that. No.
The template, yeah.
Not in the template.
No,
in the rake template.
The rake template. Okay. Okay, that's all. Can.
Okay, who wants to say next? We have 5 more minutes. So, what about Simon? He's very quiet, and we haven't heard him for a long time.
Ram, to you, or who is in charge of this?
What?
The changes on the manifest, the application level.
Open a pull request and do it. What's the problem?
No, okay. Okay, סבבה.
Okay, anyone wants to say, to give any new update?
Actually, I haven't stopped. Yeah. So,
go.
Maybe I'll update you with my intention, and then I haven't started doing it on Android. I'm currently doing it only on iOS, but I'm starting to write a login plugin that uses React with a bridge that will be available to anyone, and anyone can easily write a login plugin using React based on this one. That's it. But
is it related to anything that the definition of Yoni Austin? Is it following something that he defined there, or is it freestyle?
No, it's just a regular login plugin like we have today at the end.
Yeah, right. It's just what I wrote in the email. The implementation of what
we had a discussion with Udi. Udi knows the details.
Okay, we'll not talk about it now. Good. Pablo, you want to update us?
Yeah, this week I was working on the social feed, adding the Instagram social player. I mean the Instagram network in general, and then yeah, it's just that, and also. The family 2 of the family 2 finally got completed, finished of the UI builder, family 2 of the UI builder, and that's it. That's pretty much it for me.
Cool. Javier did an interesting change 2 weeks ago. Maybe you just short. Maybe you can just tell it to us, and we will sum it up.
Okay, so basically to just look around the code, since I'm new, I was playing with the apps and realized that you couldn't rotate. The views of our landscape were stuck to one orientation. They couldn't spin 180. This is very simple. I just changed from landscape orientation to sensor landscape. From what I understand, the reason it was set to landscape is because of the API level. They used to be lower and sensor landscape wasn't available, but now it's available. So tablet applications on landscape, you can now rotate them for 180, and the same thing with our player.
Cool. Thanks. We skipped Simon, but he's not reacting, so maybe he's not here. I don't know.
I'm here.
Oh, Simon. How are you? Long time. You want to
yeah, I work mostly on templates and bug fixes, not something major.
Okay, that was long. Cool. Cool. Okay, guys, we're on time, so thank you very much. We have then for next week either Javier, Tarek, or Pablo that needs to prepare something. What? What? קראתי.
Not sure what it was. Never mind.
Okay, so we have Tarek, Javier, and Pablo that we need to decide who is preparing something for next week. Do we have a volunteer now, or we need to talk about it later?
Maybe tomorrow I need to make sure I can finish Bellator today, and then I can volunteer to be the first one.
Okay. So
But I need to make sure that I can finish Bellator today, first of all.
You can do it.
You
will be next week. You will be next week.
All right.
Cool.
So to prepare a talk about 30 minutes, or is it?
Let's say 34. If you need an hour, we can give you an hour.
No, I don't need. No, it's okay.
But I think
30 minutes sounds good.
30 minutes is good enough.
All right.
With code examples and some interesting things.
Of course. Okay. I will choose a topic. It will be like an Android-related topic, of course.
Yes. Okay.
Oh,
cool.
okay.
Cool, guys. Thank you very much. Have a nice rest of the week, everybody. I will share the talk of today and of last week now. So, and I will send it.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye.